Welcome to Beckway Balance, where we bring you insights and voices from Perth's accounting frontline. I'm Nadene Lewis-Laing, and together we'll unpack the stories, the challenges and the wins that define accounting careers right here in WA. Welcome to the very first episode of Beckway Balance. I'm your host, Nadene Lewis-Laing, founder of Beckway Professionals Recruitment. There's no better guest to launch our podcast with than a seasoned accounting leader who's built his career from graduate to director before taking the leap into the world of AI. Joining me today is Drew Pflaum, co-founder of SavvyWise. Drew, welcome to Beckway Balance.
Thank you so much for having me, Nadine. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too.
Fantastic.
I know. First episode. Here we go. So let's start from the very beginning. What first got you into accounting?
That's a great question. And I would say just kind of good grades, actually, at Curtin University. So I've always known I wanted to go into something related to business. I very much remember in year 7, you go in your graduation, they ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I wrote millionaire. So I was always thinking about the money. So I went in for a Bachelor of Commerce at Curtin, and you've got to do like compulsory 6 units, and you don't have to choose your majors until after the first semester. So I did accounting in that first semester and did really well at it. I enjoyed it, and I could very much link that pathway of a major to a job called accounting.
Yeah.
And then here we are. I actually finished university and was like, oh, I don't want to go into an office job right now. I'm really much enjoying life. I was a regional manager at Domino's Pizza, a couple of Domino's Pizza stores, loving that. So did that for a couple of years until I started to burn out there and thought, oh, I better do something with this accounting degree.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then I was fortunate enough that got an interview at Munro's, and I went there, and Simon Strawbridge was the manager, and I put it down to I wore a purple shirt on that day.
Okay.
And Simon is a Freo Dockers supporter, so he thought, oh, Drew's a Freo supporter, I'll hire him. But I really much tricked him because I'm an Eagles supporter.
All right. That's excellent. Lovely. And once you got into the profession of accounting, did you see yourself staying in that long term? Was that your ultimate goal and plan to be a millionaire?
It's an interesting one because I was originally like, yeah, I'll go into accounting. I'll learn. Like what I want to do is like learn from working with a whole bunch of business owners to see what they do well, and then eventually go and do a business myself. That was sort of the original thoughts. And then as I progressed throughout my career, I worked my way up all the way to director at Munro's, and I was very much thinking, well, that business that I thought about in the early days is actually going to just be running an accounting firm because I was thoroughly enjoying it. So yeah.
Excellent. That's really good. So you got there. So in those early years, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so I remember very clearly that I went along to our monthly training sessions that we had running, and just being there in the boardroom with the presenter talking and just going, oh my God, there is so much to learn. Tax is so technical, and just like, feeling that overwhelm at that particular time. But then I also recognized that a couple of the other accountants who were there, who had been there for about 4 or 5 years, they were asking the trainer some very technical questions. So I looked at it and going, well, if they've got there, I can get there too. So that sort of gave me a bit of confidence. And then just like it takes a little while to I suppose understand what it is you're doing when
Yeah,
you're just doing your accounting work. Like at first you're just like, oh my God, like
absolutely.
just trying to work out the different entities and how that's structured differently on financial statements. Like I remember having a aha moment when I realized, oh, the equity section on the balance sheet of a partnership is different to a trust, and how to, from instantly getting a balance sheet, knowing what type of entity I was looking at. And that, I think that was like, that was a few months in to my
Yeah.
accounting degree, and I was just
Yeah.
like,
You
I
got
get it
it.
now. I'm starting to get it. And then I know that people go through that journey at different paces. Like I once was in the copy room, and a colleague of mine came in, and I was talking to her about these things, and she was like, "Yeah, I didn't. I barely got debits and credits until like my second year into
Oh
my
God.
career." So it was a good thing to recognize. Go, look, we're all on a different journey. We'll pick up different things of that at different paces.
At times, absolutely. So was there a moment when you realized, that you wanted to go beyond the technical side of accounting, maybe looking at more of the advisory side? Like, was there a moment when you in your career when you got to that stage?
Like I was, I think, very fortunate that the managing director of Munro's, and Simon Strawbridge, I was in his team, and he quickly identified that I was very good at uh, doing research and
Hmm.
advice. So he would give me like tasks of various different complexities all the way along. So I got to learn a lot of different things very quickly. And I was fortunate again, he promoted me to manager, and I got those extra responsibilities, seeing more around the invoicing of clients and how it works in terms of the profitability of the business. So they were very fortunate moments in my career that's helped me go there. And then I was, as a part of that, invited into our sort of business development marketing side of the business for our firm, how we're going to market and get to new clients. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, which was
Hmm.
quite interesting, given that if I go back to Curtin University, one of those compulsory courses was marketing, and I remember hating
All right, there you
it
go,
then.
the irony.
And my career has actually changed, where I went more into the marketing, sales, and business development side, uh, as opposed to the technical tax side, which I still thoroughly love. It's just, there's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. And when did you decide to aim for director level and what helped you get there?
Yeah, good question. I think at first, the first several years, I wasn't really thinking about that.
Mhm.
I just happened to be going along, doing my thing, doing well enough, and then getting the promotions over time. So I was a manager. I remember one really good night out. Must have been the Christmas function, the annual Christmas function. So getting late in the night, yeah, a few drinks and having a good chat with one of my colleagues who was the manager, and we're like, oh, no. I remember, oh no, mate, you're going to be the next director, and he's like, no, mate, you're going to be the next director. And I think at that stage I hadn't even really thought about it too much, but I was like, if the opportunity comes along, I'd be interested in it. But
Mhm.
in actual fact, what happened is I did get offered the role as a director, and I originally turned it down
Oh,
because my
okay.
career was sort of, there was something else happening outside of the firm that was quite intriguing to me, and I was like, well, I kind of want to like pursue that at the moment a little bit. So it was a juggling act there. So I tried to kind of do a couple of things over that next year, and then I realized, at least for me, because I really need to focus on one thing at a time,
Mhm.
and my love of accounting had been growing that throughout that year. So come the next year, I was like, if that director role is still available, I'll definitely take it.
You're lucky they they still had the role available to give to you.
Yeah, yep, very fortunate.
Oh my goodness. So after reaching the director level, what made you start thinking about your next step, or what could be done different within accounting?
Um, like I've always been an earlier adopter of technologies, work practices, and that visionary mindset. So, and one of my key roles was sort of to be that disruptor, if I can put it that way,
Yeah.
in the boardroom. So I think my ex-colleagues as directors did be at times when they're like, oh God, Drew's going at it again with this point of view, which is different to theirs. But that's what you need, especially at leadership level. You need to be able to voice different opinions and have debate around these matters, and then to be able to walk out of those boardrooms going, all right, well, either I got it my way or you got it your way, but then we've committed to going in that direction. So at least you've had those robust conversations.
Hmm. Absolutely. So I'm guessing obviously during your career from graduate to director level, you would have seen a lot of changes, I guess, in the accounting space and how things are done. Um, was there a point when you started to see technology changing the way that accounting firms worked? Was there something that you can pinpoint?
Yeah, I suppose like my career started around the time when cloud accounting's like really starting to kick off.
Hmm.
And I suppose there were some firms who were just diving into it, going straight away. Our firm was more, we're a sort of a conservative progressive in terms of we don't want to be at that bleeding edge of
Hmm.
adopting technology, but we want to be within that early majority. So I seen, especially when I like started to look at the business development side of the business, how well some of those firms that had adopted cloud accounting were doing, in particular
Hmm.
with their marketing. So that was interesting. And then I started to learn about, like I've always a decent user of Excel with different formulas and coming in and doing my own sort of things. So like um, we started off with, we've got these uh, standard templates to use, and I would go off and just start making my own templates because I'm never satisfied with whatever's there. That's sort of the mindset I have. So I would build my own sort of things, and then so more formulas I could do, and then I started to learn about VBAs, which are the macros, the automation macros you can do in
Hmm.
Excel, and then over time, the robotic process automations we can use to do a lot of tasks. And I was just, and look at all these excellent things that can be automated, um, and then learning about APIs in terms of connecting softwares and using automations like Zapier to bring everything together. So I started to use these bits and pieces, and then eventually AI came along,
And then,
blew it up even further. So I would be using these things. I'd use them a lot in our marketing as well, our marketing processes. And then I'd just get everyone into the boardroom and go, oh, see these things, this is what's possible, so that people would at least have an awareness of what is possible. They don't
mhm.
have to become the expert in implementing it, but especially as the director of a team, you got like, we had like 30 different accountants. We want people to be aware of the possibilities that they can raise it as, hey, I think there might be something to make this process quicker and more efficient. And then we
Definitely.
can look at implementing it.
That's great. I'm sure your team members in the office there at Munro's, never knew what you were going to come into the boardroom with, all these things that you were finding. So it's quite exciting. So let's talk about that leap into AI, obviously with SavvyWise. So what inspired you to move from practice leadership into tech innovation?
Yeah, great question. So the way I tell the story is I was on ChatGPT the first week it was out. Um, and I remember we were going out to one of our Christmas functions. And I say one of ours because we used to have three, which was fantastic at Munro's. And I remember showing the team, I asked ChatGPT, I said, oh, explain to me Division 7A and what it spat out. I was like, man, how good is this, guys? Uh, this is awesome. Um, so I had that first experience and I was instantly thinking, oh, this is going to be great to use this technology to when we do research with that like really high quality research sort of libraries that accounting firms are used to using.
Yeah.
Um, so, and then as we all started to use ChatGPT a little bit, when I say a little bit, I mean I'm using it a lot. Others logging in every once in a while. I see where it's going well, and then also where it's not going well. Like downside is it would go out and just use anything on the open internet. So I get it like quoting things like from the ATO community forum, which I say is like going down to the pub to get tax advice. Not really the place to get the right information with. Like when you're doing tax research as an accountant, you need good quality substantiation. So you want legislation backed up with either maybe a private ruling from the ATO or expert commentary, these type of things. So I've seen that potential there. So earlier this year, I was like waiting. So I'd been waiting for like 2.5 years for the incumbent provider of a really good quality tax research knowledge base to put AI in their system, because I just thought, oh, it's going to be powerful. Can't wait for them to do it. But I can also see why they might be a bit slow to do it, because they're the incumbent and it's disruptive to their business model. So I went down the rabbit hole of how do you build this out? Like, can it be built? And then I worked out, oh, it's actually feasible for someone like me to build this out. Like, we're fortunate it's a few years on since AI really became in the mainstream. There's a lot of developer toolkits to make it much easier to develop. So I was thinking about it. And then my co-founder, just sat next to me at a morning startup event, which is a fortnightly event here in Perth. And we got talking on the subject and basically really gelled. And we're like, let's go and do this. So convinced myself that if I'm going to do something like this and help solve this problem for accountants and the wider business community, you've got to go for it now. So it's a hard decision because you can only do one thing at a time. And I was thoroughly enjoying my time at Munro's. But yeah, I went full-time into SavvyWise in July.
Excellent. That's fantastic. It's a big jump, isn't it? Big change from what you were doing previously. So it's amazing. So how do you see AI improving the day-to-day work of accountants right now? So not in 5 years' time, but like actually today. Like, how do you see it improving the work?
Yeah. Well, firstly, of course, SavvyWise, right? SavvyWise is helping with tax research. So that's federal taxes, state-based taxes. We're also helping with Fair Work. We got a lot of feedback, especially from business owners, that they need a good research tool for employment law. And then SavvyWise also helps as like a general use. So helping accountants write emails, write advice, do file notes. So that's what we're doing and providing to accountants. And we've got more than 20 accounting firms at this stage using SavvyWise. Outside of that, I always like to tell people the story of how I first used an AI note taker for meetings. Again, the story begins at Morning Startup. Stuart Riddle of Claris stood up at the announcements phase of Morning Startup and was like, yep, I've got Claris, it's an AI note taker. We've got a lot of financial advisors using it. We'd love some accountants to use it. Are there any accountants here? And bang, my hand goes straight up. Yep, right here. So Stu and I end up talking, and he's like, yeah, I'll give you some credits to use with Claris. Go ahead and use them for some meetings. And I had a couple of meetings booked for that day. So he quickly set that up for me. I used it for the meeting. So, you go along into a meeting, and what I like to do is always bring in a younger accountant in. Fantastic professional development for them. And secondly, great for them to take the notes of the meeting and write it up afterwards, saving me the time. So we had that meeting. I had it with my colleague Tony, fantastic bloke, and finished the recording. And then I put it into Claris. I was feeling really confident around Claris in terms of protecting client identities when you're processing this, because Stuart spoke to me about how they de-identify information before it goes out to AI, so that was great. So put it in, and within about 5 to 10 minutes, it's processed the meeting, and it's come back with this file notes and this draft email, and I've just gone, wow. I
Yeah.
jumped out of my seat. I've gone around to where Tony's office is. Basically gone, Tony, man, you're not going to believe this. This is brilliant. But I'm like, it's done this file note so quickly, probably far more accurate than we would ever do. And it would have taken Tony at least an hour, if not 2 hours, to do what it did in like 10 minutes. And director of the firm, I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to have to pay Claris like $10 for this every meeting. It's a no-brainer. Like, it pays for itself. The amount of time that it's saving me to review and Tony to do, it's a completely no-brainer, I felt. So definitely firms should be using AI note takers, I believe. And there's others out there at the moment as well, including Vinyl. There's that. What else should accountants use AI with? I think a key part for accounting firms to realize is to just building up an awareness and a skill set with AI at the moment. A lot of firms I talk to are like, yep, we know we need to do something with AI. And we're also seeing this with the users of SavvyWise, is there's a behavioral shift that needs to happen, which is that people will go, yep, I need to use it. They get access to it. They might dabble a little bit, but they quickly revert back to older ways. But there's like a little bit of a skill set that needs to evolve over time. Like, you need to get better at writing instructions or queries to the AI, which is officially like called prompting. And then there's a way, it's a skill set, like everything. One day you would have opened Excel and never knew how to do it, even a simple formula in there. Now a lot of us know how to do some quite good complicated formulas. So with using AI, it's just building up that skill set over time. And the way to do that is to just get in and start using AI.
It's a little bit every day, I guess. Yeah, and build up from there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and you can use it. So, like I said, a big part of my remit at Munro's was business development. So I would use AI for helping with our blogs, right?
Okay.
So we used to get a lot of firms would be familiar with it. But instead of just writing up the articles, they might get them from a provider. And I was always mindful of, okay, well, these articles have been written generically. We need to make them so that they're in the Munro's voice and they're unique. Because otherwise, if you put the same article on your website and other accounting firms have the same article, Google doesn't look upon that very nicely because it's repeat same content. So you can get an AI to rewrite the article, and you give it a prompt to write it in your own the brand voice of the firm. So that's one thing. You can help it write your social media posts. Before we started this today, Nadene, I was mentioning about how we've used AI for our videos that we put on the website at Munro's. So we used a product called Descript to help do the video editing. Like, I'm not a video editor. One of my colleagues, Imogen, was fantastic at video editing at Munro's, but that was on Adobe, and it was like, there's just so many settings everywhere. So it's fantastic for her, she knows how to use it. But for me, I was like, man, I need something easier. So I'd use Descript for that. And then you can use AIs for potentially doing some images. They've got much better. I remember being in the boardroom showing our team members images is a use case for AI, and that maybe they could use it for doing business structure diagrams. But at that point in time, the words that it would put on images was very poor. So it was like, it's going to get there one day. But then fast forward a year from that point in time, and they basically solved that issue. So now if you give it a right prompt, it'll put words in the image which are accurate and consistent over time. So you can do these types of use cases, and more will become available as this develops out and more people start using it and see the vision and where it could go.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I'm on a bit of an AI journey along with many others as well at the moment. So yeah, always open to new programs. So the next question is aimed at the accounting leaders listening to the podcast today. What would you say are the top five things you'd recommend firms to implement now to stay ahead of AI? The top
Uh,
five.
Top five, you've got to start using it, encourage use. So just start using it. The easiest ones to start using are the AI note takers for meetings, SavvyWise, of course, for tax research.
Of course.
Um, and no longer do you need a second subscription to a ChatGPT or Copilot, because SavvyWise also has a general use in there. Accounting firms need to, especially the leaders, think through what is their AI policy for the firm, because there's things unauthorized use of AI. Accounting firms, especially directors and partners, are very aware that we don't want to share client confidential information with AIs. This is going to be very well protected. The privacy law requires the data to be protected. The accounting tax agent standards require it, same with the professional bodies. So you've got to make sure that across the firm, everyone's using only authorized AI. So you've got to build out a policy with that. And to build out
Right.
policies, you've got to start with strategy.
Hmm.
Start with your business strategy. What are you actually trying to achieve with AI to bring productivity gains out? And then I think this is a critical one for accounting leaders to think about is, how is AI going to impact your pricing structure?
Right.
Because as AI helps you do more work quicker, and accountants are typically charged by the hour, if you can do the work that much quicker, does that mean you're now charging less
Mm.
to your
Good
to your
question.
clients?
Yeah.
And are they taking all the benefits of using AI? At the same time, if you've started off hearsay and you're charging by the hour, you save some hours. Now you charge your client this. You have the human cost here, so your prices come down. You're being squeezed from your profit margin there, but AI is going to come with a cost. So you're getting a double hit. Your profit margin is actually getting worse. So you start thinking, why would any accounting firm want to do the work quicker? And there's a number of reasons, like you're already under pressure anyway, and some of that work you're doing is just not recoverable anyway. Um, Risk mitigation is a big one. So a lot of directors and partners tell us like AI is actually going to help us produce higher quality work, which is great. And then on the pricing structure, what I'm encouraging firms to do is start to charge a technology enabled WIP, almost like a timesheet entry for your AI, because your AI is your next employee, right?
Interesting. Okay.
And you've been charging for your employee's time, you should be charging also for the AI's time as well.
Okay, it's fantastic. Good insights there. Thanks for sharing that, Drew. So one challenge with AI is trust, and you touched upon
Nadine,
that
sorry.
already.
Nadine, sorry to butt in. I was just thinking another use case I need to mention
Mhm.
is actually in your field, right? In recruiting.
Okay.
So what's happening a lot now is that we're hearing that um, people in business, whether it's accounting firms or other employers, are getting far more CVs than they ever have before. But it's because people are using automation and AI to just bang all these CVs all over the place. So you need to be aware of that, and then you need to have a think about, okay, how are we going to judge CVs, because a lot of people are going to be using AI to produce them
Mhm.
as well. And I would say that's good. I would say you want your potential next employee to have used AI in their CV, because you want them to be using AI when they come work for you. But you're going to have to be mindful and have a thought about how do you want to judge those CVs. And then if you're doing interviews, um, particularly if they're video meetings like this, the, the the candidate could have an AI there in real time giving them advice of how they're going in the interview. So you need to be aware of that. There's actually AIs to help people
Mm.
live during interviews. And also, when you're doing reference checks, you want to make sure you're actually talking to a real human,
Oh,
because you can get
100%.
AIs on the phone, like basically pretending to be a real human. So that's another thing that
I've been
can
caught
really.
by a few of those because you hear the sort of delayed reaction and then you hear like a typing and then they're sort of responding. Yeah, I've come across a few of the AI bots as well with the phone calls. So
Yeah,
yeah, getting used to that myself. So going back to the next question. So one challenge with AI is trust from both firms and clients. So how can accountants use it responsibly while keeping that human element?
yeah. So great question. That one, far out. It's coming up all the time, and I think a lot of accountants are very aware of it because they've seen headlines in the news by one of the big four firms recently doing a government report. I think
Yeah.
everyone knows about that.
Yeah.
And then court cases where lawyers are getting pulled up for quoting cases that don't exist.
Yeah.
So
Heard
that's
about
AI just what's called hallucinating, because it's just sort of predicting the next word based on patterns. It can make up things. So you need to be very mindful of that. So it's always, and the professional bodies I'm finding are very good at explaining this terms, is that you're absolutely responsible. That
Mhm.
is you, the human, the accountant, uh, to apply your professional judgment to everything that goes out the door. So you can't go, oh, I didn't write that. It was the AI.
Yeah.
That's, you're in charge. You have to review it uh, and check things.
You check it, yeah, cross-reference it,
Yeah.
definitely.
So that's again, you come back to your policy of what can be used. How do you mitigate those hallucinations from happening? That's why like industry specific tools like SavvyWise are really helpful. And then transparency with
Mhm.
clients as well. That's it's a very big thing. Is like, yeah, like if you're using AI note taker for a meeting, like your client should know about it. Like you're going to have to record that meeting, so you should be asking permission for that, and also mentioning, yeah, we're going to use a note taker to produce the notes after this meeting. And in my experience, just about everyone's fine with it. I think it's actually a good thing. You should be
Mhm.
promoting that you're using AI because clients are going to respect that and think that you're going to be using it anyway to produce high quality information and do it quicker as well. So they're key things to keep in mind. And that also makes me think of that over time, you're going to have to get used to clients using AI to double check your own advice. And you'll pick up on when
Oh,
clients are using AI in their emails
yeah,
to you as well.
absolutely.
So it all comes down to just we, as accountants, have got a typical process of doing professional development for taxes and laws.
Mhm.
Uh, this should be similar. Like we're always talking about, everyone should be doing, soft skills development over time. But I know that a lot of time can slip by the wayside. AI is straight in there as well. You need to be encouraging this use and going on a journey of, you don't have to do everything at once, just incremental things to upskill and stay up to date and at the forefront. You don't have to be at the bleeding edge, but you don't want to be those laggards, or at least
Yeah,
I
I
don't
see
think,
them.
which have still got vanilla files lying around the place.
Absolutely. Sort of talking about the skill set there, that leads quite nicely on to my next question. So, what skills or mindsets do you think the next generation of accountants will need to stay relevant in an AI-driven world?
Mm. So that's that personal relationships that you have, so that emotional intelligence that you have with your clients, your colleagues,
Hmm.
stakeholders. Um, that's key. Being able to have that. That doesn't mean that everyone needs to be forward facing and seeing clients, because relationships are just important internally. So I know there's some accountants out there that they don't feel confident being in the meeting having the conversations with clients, but they're exceptional accountants
Hmm.
and they more feel confident being around other people that they're really comfortable with.
Yeah.
So that's totally fine. So it's having those abilities, which is great, but being that leader. And then having that mindset of innovation, of adopting technologies, of seeing the potential, and particularly not dismissing things after like one go. I've seen it happen where someone tries something new, it doesn't work out, and they go, it doesn't work, and they stop using it.
Right,
There's
okay.
things you need to do repeatedly.
Yeah.
I say this, that I'm thinking about this, and like you're sitting back watching Netflix at the end of the day, and you start a new TV series. For me, me and my wife always say this, like you've got to watch like maybe three, 4 episodes or something before you can go, oh no, this is no good, or I really like this. Because sometimes, those early episodes, the actors, the writers, everyone's finding their feet of the story.
Yeah.
And the greatest example of that was in my experience, Lucifer, the TV series on Netflix. I remember that first episode. My wife put it on. I was like, "What are you watching? This is junk." And then she just kept watching it, and I got hooked.
I've never seen it. No, I haven't seen. I've heard about it
So,
though.
so
Yeah.
that's the same thing. Like people, they're going to use AI, they're going to use SavvyWise, and they're going to get a response and go, "Oh, this is no good. I'm not liking that." But if they use it, a dozen times and so on, they're going to go, actually, this is good 80% of the time. 20% of the
Mhm.
time, yeah, maybe it's not extremely helpful, but I doubt it's actually going to be more costly than trying it the other way. You should
Mhm.
default to using it first and go from there.
Absolutely. Good answer. And what do you think the accounting firms of the future will look like, and how different would it be from the one that you started in?
Yeah. Um, well, it'll be different in that, yeah, we're going to have these AI agents, our AI assistant employees, if we like, our colleagues that are going to be doing things. I'm not sure if that terminology, that way of thinking, will persist over time because we'll become all more comfortable with AI, and it'll probably just be like every other software that we see.
Nature. Hmm.
Um, there might be more interactions in terms of like talking through issues
Hmm.
because AI is quite good, and like we can go, oh yeah, this, that, and this and that instead of typing everything. So there might be that might change interaction. A key thing we always hear of is, oh, AIs are going to take jobs. Uh,
Yeah.
Now, there is a really interesting lawyer from Adelaide, I believe, Adrian Cutland. Um, I was listening to a podcast he was on by the Tax Institute, and they're talking about AI, and he made a very fascinating uh, forecast, a prediction, and it's so interesting. His his prediction is that, yeah, sure, AI for a certain subset of our job, it's going to come in and do that way quicker. But everyone's probably going to be enjoying that because that was probably the tedious thing that we didn't want to do anyway. But it's actually going to make the demands for tax accountants go up because as AI can help us do more work, it just unleashes the ability for us to do more work. And
Hmm.
he gave the example of in law, contracts used to be like a few pages, and then Microsoft Word came along and you could do copy and paste. But
Hmm.
contracts went from a few pages to like 20 pages because now it was super easy to go, I want to put in this clause, this clause, this clause, this clause, and you can go copy paste and put it in. And then when you put in that many clauses to make a contract that big, that's created more work for every legal team to look over it and make sure everything's fine. So actually created more demand. So the same thing will happen with tax. As we can do more work, well, now we can actually dive deeper and go, before we only had, this client can only afford like $5,000 on this due diligence, right? Um, so we can only do a certain amount of that work in that due diligence. But there's always more that you could have done to reduce the risk for the client. But cost benefit wise, that was it. So instead of going, now we can do that amount of work in, let's say, $3,000. So oh, do we charge the client $3,000? Yeah, no, they can still afford $5,000. So let's just do more now for
Yeah.
that client to help de-risk that situation.
Mhm.
And then at the same end of it, from a tax law point of view, uh, the more AI and automation there is, the more things the ATO can check. So they're going to go and be able to do more reviews, more checking. So that's going to be more questions and more questions that accountants are going to have to deal with and help their clients through dealing with that. So his
Mhm.
prediction is there's going to be more demand for tax accountants. And
That's
I was like, I think that he's probably spot on there. Very fascinating prediction. So and I ever since I heard that, I've been like, I've got to make sure that this gets out, this message gets out, so people can think about it that way because I hadn't before.
it's good for me to know as well as an accounting recruiter for public practice. So I guess the most popular area for jobs is business services and tax. So absolutely, that's fantastic
And,
to hear. Very refreshing. Yeah.
and a fantastic recruiter you are, too, Nadine.
Thank you
Always
very
been a pleasure to work with.
much. Thank you. And sort of getting towards the end of our chat today. So if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, something you'd wish you'd known early on, what would it be?
For me, I would have gone out and done more networking.
Okay.
Uh, I'm actually by nature a more reserved uh, person.
Okay.
People like normally have that reaction after they know me for a while because once I know someone, I feel comfortable. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a bit loud, but normally I'm a quite reserved sort of person. Um, but networking is key. So if you wanted to get more clients, networking is key. If you just want to be more helpful with others, if you want to get a network where if I've got an issue, I've got people I can go and ask. And they might not know, but they might point in the right direction. And you never know where your career is going to go, right? So for me, if I had done more networking when I was younger, I'd probably be able to do even more quicker in terms of SavvyWise, getting out to more accountants because I would have had a bigger network. I didn't know I was going to go into SavvyWise and basically create something that's helping accountants and then need to go and try and sell to accountants.
Yeah.
Um, so if I had done that earlier, that would have been beneficial. And it's the same with like if I had just stuck with Munro's, if I'd done the networking earlier on, I would have had a bigger network of potential customers to go and get
It's
more
true.
opportunities to promote myself. So I think that's key. I understand why it's hard to do that because everyone's got limited time and the like, but that would be the number one thing, at least when you're asking me that question today.
Okay, networking. I'll definitely share that with some of the graduates coming through from the universities because I speak to them a lot. So I'll definitely pass that on. And finally, what's next for you and SavvyWise?
We are looking forward to getting more users. We're currently in beta, and we're going to have a launch, and then next year is going to be incredible. Uh, we're going to be investing a lot into research and development of AIs that are specifically for Australian taxes,
Okay.
um, and it's going to make our platform just produce that much higher quality. So I'm hugely looking forward to it and working with accounting firms. Like every time we go and meet them, they are saying to us, "This is great. Can it do this, this, and this?" And we're like,
Right.
"That's
Okay.
on the road. That's on the roadmap." So I'm looking forward to getting to those things.
That's so exciting. No, I wish you all the best. I know you've always embraced technology and changes, so I have no doubt you're going to be successful with SavvyWise. Drew, thank you. What a brilliant first guest for Beckway Balance. And your journey really shows just how much opportunity there is when you embrace change. Now, before we wrap up, Drew, I know you've got something special that you're offering to our listeners today, so I'll hand it over to you to share the details.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Nadine. So as I just mentioned before, we are getting ready to do a launch, our official launch. So that's going to be in November, just around the corner. And there are going to be some incredibly generous offers to be had to our, our, our founding accounting friends out there. So you're going to need to have a look out for it because I'm talking about like how there's some great deals like you maybe buy one you get one free. Um, things like that, but even more. And it's going to be sort of the first in best dress. So really looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Excellent. So, to everyone listening, follow and connect with us for future episodes. Thank you for tuning in. Stay grounded, stay curious, and keep moving forward. Thank you. You've been listening to Beckway Balance, Insights and Voices from Perth's Accounting Frontline. Follow us for more real stories and practical insights from Perth's accounting community.